This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. Many of us have these dreams, these aspirations of changing gear, changing direction professionally, maybe even starting a business. We're going to talk about that today. When is the right time? What questions should be asked of yourself? What should you be internalizing when it comes to starting a new business? I'm intrigued here. I, I've, I've started a few in my life, and so it makes me wonder what questions I should have asked, what I'm thinking now, and I think many of us have a lot of questions there. He is somebody that answers those questions, helps walk that journey with you as somebody offering consulting services and coaching services in all different areas too. He's also very proficient at operations and also in the tech world. Davonte Williams joins us on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thanks for having me back.
Oh, good to have you back here. This is, I believe, an important topic that you don't hear a lot about, and especially since COVID, many of us have pivoted in different directions. Whether we've completely changed it up, or maybe we're thinking about, you know what, maybe start as a side hustle kind of thing and see where it goes. Where should we begin today in answering those questions, or asking those questions of the right time to start a business?
I think that's a great place to start is just asking the questions, asking yourself the right kind of questions that might lead you into making the right decision for you at that time. I think COVID is a good example. It was sort of a catalyst for a lot of people to venture out on their own and to turn something that was maybe a smaller side hustle into a full-time opportunity for them. But also other people to just dip their toes into what it feels like to gain income in a way that is more independent and not so fully reliant on some other entity, which I think today is more relevant than ever. We're still seeing tons and tons of layoffs. It seems like every week some major corporation is coming out with news on who they're laying off, how many people
Yep.
they're laying off. I think just a couple of weeks ago we saw UPS. I
Yeah.
actually worked for UPS for a while and it was great. My experience was great. And while I didn't stay there, it was a really reliable opportunity for a lot of people that I worked with. And
Hmm.
so seeing them lay off, I think around 20,000 people over the next year or a couple of years or so, it's a pretty major shift. And I think that we're seeing that trend sort of across the board.
So let's say somebody has a an idea for a business. Maybe they're looking, maybe changing direction, changing gears, whatever it might be. Should they ask why? What's your why? Why are you doing this? What is your ultimate motivator? Should that be one of them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that as we become professionals, as we move into a more secure state, a lot of us drift away from asking ourselves what it is that we really want to do. Like when you're younger, when you're in college, you're asking yourself what kind of impact you want to make on the world. And it kind of feels like the world is your oyster at that point. And then over time, we discover, most of us or a lot of us, that that pathway isn't so clear that we can't just go straight into saving the animals, saving the whales, or doing whatever grandiose thing that it is that we want to do, that we might have to buckle down at least for a while to
Hmm.
try to build up some assets, some security, some independence. And so I think a lot of people kind of get comfortable and a little complacent in that, where they say, I didn't really dream about doing X, Y, and Z, but it pays the bills, it's engaging, it's happy, it's enough for me now.
Hmm.
And there's definitely nothing wrong with that. I think that in itself is a really rewarding path in a lot of different ways. But it just brings into question, what do we do when that path becomes interrupted? and is no longer the option that we think it is. And so it's asking ourselves to go back to where we were when we are at our most ambitious, where we are dreaming uninhibited on what we want to do and what kind of impact we want to make but now under the lens of having that experience as a professional, as a member of your community. Maybe it's not how you want to change the world. Maybe it's just how you want to change your environment, your community, the lives of the people around you. And I think that that's a great place to start asking what it is you want to do and try to put out some feelers on what might be an opportunity for you.
That being said, deeper question coming. Here we go. Got an idea for a business, thinking about it. What's my why? I'm going hypothetical here. Just if somebody were to say this to you, well, why you want to do it? And the answer is, I want to make a lot of money. I get the reasons, but if that is the reason, I just want to make a lot of money, man. I think this is gonna bear a lot of fruit. Is that potentially not the right reason to start it? To start moving in another direction potentially. Yes, it would be wonderful if it generates a lot of income, but ultimately, it's often been said that you should follow your passion because the money will follow. What are your thoughts overall?
Yeah, I think, there are a lot of people that go into business with that sort of mentality. And unless you have a really solid business plan or you're taking advantage of a really lucrative opportunity, I would say, yeah, generally it's not a really powerful motivator through getting you through those, especially those first rough few months or years when you're trying to build things up. From what I've seen working with people that have gone into creating their own business for more intrinsic reasons and people that have gone in just for money or the idea of making a lot of money, you always see the people that have some deeper reason that are more successful. It's the thing that drives them, that keeps them up, that keeps them attentive, that pushes them to writing those emails at 10 p.m. after they had a full day and they put all the kids down and they've had so many other obstacles in their life. If it's just money, it usually isn't enough. But I do think that it also begs a different question to kind of move almost into the realm of anti-capitalist thinking. And what I would gauge somebody in that position to ask is, you're saying that you want a lot of money, but I don't really think that's the case. What is it that you want the money to buy? Is it
Hmm.
those vacations? Is it travel? Is it time? Are you just asking for money just to buy your own time back?
Freedom. Maybe it's
Or,
freedom. Yeah.
yeah, or freedom, independence. Can we skip the middleman and just go straight into getting the things that you actually want and not the things that you think you should want?
I have, and thank you for saying that. I mean, it's crystal clear. And we can be dreamers, and I have some friends that they're in between job situations, and it seems like every other day there's an idea that pops up. So recently it was, yeah, I'm going to start a dog grooming business because you could sell a lot of product. People are passionate about their pets. Yeah, I like that idea. I'm thinking about that. This is somebody said to me, close to them. I said, okay, cool. Do you know how to groom a dog? No. Do you love dogs? All right. Had one once. Okay. Um, hmm. Why do you want to do this? It was just a thought. It was just a thought. And then, another thought came. Um, a upscale bathroom, portable bathroom business. Somebody, upscale having parties and don't want to have a porta potty, but something that rolls in, trailered, a little more upscale. Yeah. Okay, great. That's, but, do you have any experience in maybe constructing that? No. Okay. My point here is that I believe there needs to be a passion. There needs to be a connection. You can be an investor if you have extra money and you throw it to somebody else and let them take care of it. But if it's you looking for a path, there needs to be a connection to the path. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps to have that connection and that Just general interest. It's really hard to invest in the business when you don't really know or care about any of the operations or the processes involved with
Mm.
it. But it always doesn't have to be so straightforward. I think one powerful tool to use is to leverage your relationships. And I think that even in an example where, you know, there's always money in the niches. And if you want to be something that is more upscale between a porta potty and something nicer to be the luxury porta potty or whatever it is. And you don't
Hmm.
really know how to do that, but let's say you're really good with transportation and you know how to get these things where they need to be. Find your friend that can build it up and that can
Yep.
be there on time.
Yep.
Leverage that relationship and try to build things with other people. This is not a journey that you have to go in by yourself. And so I think just thinking a little bit outside of the box, you can kind
Hmm.
of circumvent a lot of what those are. And maybe you can just be dipping your toes into a lot of different pools where you have a whole bunch of range of businesses that you may not own outright, but you're in partnership with, and that you contribute what you are good at within those businesses. I think that in itself would be equally as fulfilling as just doing one thing by yourself.
Yeah. And even what you're saying, and we're just, giving just pie in the sky examples, but maybe you're very connected with some affluent people. And maybe that's more of a reason to go for that type of business. You know nothing about transportation, bathrooms, building, and nothing, but they have lots of parties and you have connections to many. Maybe that is your path and more of your reason for digging into it. Devonte, what about some of the other questions that somebody should ask before they start a business?
Yeah, I think there are a lot to ask, and a lot of them require you to be pretty vulnerable in evaluating your current stance and your desires and what it is that you really want to do. And so it is helpful to do this by yourself, but then to also do it with somebody else and to have
Mm.
someone to help level set and manage these expectations a little bit. But I think that one to ask, especially for those that are currently working a more traditional job that may have the opportunity, whether it's being within a healthy financial position in your life where you have the ability to maybe venture out on your own, or whether it's somebody reading the writing on the wall, working for a company that's laid off 50% of your staff over the last year, just kind of preparing for a possible inevitability where you're saying it's only a matter of time before maybe my name is on that list. I need to
Mm.
start looking for something that that I can do next and asking, do I want to keep doing what I'm doing, go into this crazy job market and potentially start over from scratch? Or is now the time that I leverage my experience and my connection and my confidence in what I can do and translate that into something else? So a lot of that is really being open and honest with the intersection of your professional life and your personal life and looking at what is really possible. Because I've seen a lot of ambitious people where they have the drive, they have the opportunity, and they don't answer these questions honestly. And then their entire business plan is built on them working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And
Mm.
then on week two, they burn out and then they're starting over from scratch over again. So I think that having that extra perspective to level set expectations and help you answer some of these really intimate questions to figure it out where your path should head and what your next steps should be.
What I'm getting from you is somebody in this situation needs to be honest with themselves. They really need to do some soul searching. And yeah,
Hmm.
it's kind of unnerving, especially in this climate where you might be sensing that there's changes coming with your current job. So now, there's a level of freak mode kicking in, and that's, screaming in the back of your head. But that shouldn't be why you knee jerk and just start a business and uh, might not be the right one for you. Do you work with people on business plans and direction and the logistics of it?
Yeah, I think that what we try to do is holistic. We want to look at everything that you're doing. And we'll build up a general business plan, but a lot of that is also going to entail bringing in the right people to give you exactly what you need. I think that encouraging other people to lean into their own skills is something I also do.
Mm.
I'm not a financial analyst. I'm not going to be able to look at your finances and tell you have the ability to take out this loan or whatever it is, but I have a really good financial guy. So we'll connect you to that financial guy.
Sure.
If you need to take out loans or you need to look for transportation, a lot of it is connecting you with the right people that are going to help give you those answers so that we can have a really accurate, comprehensive answer on what is realistic within the realm of your ability to get equipment or vehicles or space or a loan, whatever it is that you need. And to also look to whether you actually need that. Looking at a lot of businesses, sometimes you say, well, if you're doing this, you need X, Y, and Z. You're starting a plumber business, you need this kind of truck, you need this kind of equipment, and looking to see what it is you're actually doing. And they're like, well, you don't really need that. You're saying you don't actually want to do this aspect of it. We don't need all of this. We can kind of focus on what it is that you want to do and what you want to start out with. Because I think that another bad habit a lot of new business owners have is just biting off more than they can chew. We can start small, we can tiptoe, we can take on smaller things that you can knock out of the park. So you build your reputation and build up from there.
Can you think of any recent times where somebody jumped into a business and maybe had some challenges? Anything that stands out for you, just as you scan your memory? And it
Yeah,
doesn't have
I
to be everything, just could be a piece of what went down and might have had a better result if better thought out.
yeah, you unfortunately tend to see it a lot. I think one of the biggest things is overcommitting, um, over leveraging your own time and your own ability to work. It's really an interesting thing to see somebody going to business for themselves because they're so overworked, they have no time for themselves, and then their immediate plan entails them overworking themselves, working 80 hours a week, being the administrative side, the fulfillment side, the service side, the customer service side, instead of scaling back a little bit to just do just a little bit at a time. So people overreaching is something that you see a lot. And then you see a lot of people that just kind of mimic what has been working. They'll see another larger business or
Mm.
perhaps a local business and say everything that they're doing is working. And so they try to mimic exactly what they're doing. But maybe that's not a service that is being differentiated enough. They already have that. There's already a solid option for that. So if you're not going to add something else, be a higher price point with a higher level of service or a more economic service, then you're kind of just adding more onto what already exists. And you're just kind of setting yourself up, not for failure, but for an unnecessary challenge.
Interesting to hear that. I spoke with somebody the other day that feels that your heart has to be in it. It's not going to work. Your heart has to be in it. What are your thoughts?
I think at its core, it really does. And it doesn't mean that it has to be you are in love with the exact thing that
Sure.
you're doing. You don't have to be in love with plumbing and being the best plumber or the art of plumbing. But if you are in love with the logistics of it or the kind of work that you would be doing, working with a group of good people that provide good services, as long as there's some aspect of it that you really, really love and really enjoy, that's it. I think that that is enough.
You said something before, and it sparked another conversation I had with some friends the other day that there really aren't any original ideas. You had said before, you take a look at a business and maybe model yours after it. Do you believe that for the most part, everything's kind of been done? We get inspiration from other things.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's a tough question. It really is. In a lot of ways, I think generally, yeah, a lot of things have already been done, and some of the core aspects have been done. We've already seen people that provide excellent service where they spend so much time invested in getting to know their customer and their client and meeting their needs. Or we've seen some people that'll differentiate themselves in some specific way that has kind of been done together or done before or kind of not.
Hmm.
More or less, I would say it's kind of irrelevant. It's really nice to be original. I think it's more happenstance than it is something you could actually plan. It's kind of lightning in a bottle. But I think that you can look at something that has been done a million times, and you can still say, I want to try to do it better
Yep.
than everyone else.
Yeah. And put my spin on it, put my
Yeah.
signature on it, so to speak. How do we connect with you, Davonte? If somebody's looking for some guidance, some insight, maybe starting a new business, maybe they just need some coaching or consulting or operations within their current company, not the greatest, and need some other eyes to lift up the hood and look in there. How do they find you?
They can reach out on my website, www.kindpyre.com, KINDPYRE.
Always great talking with you. Love your passion, by the way. It really
Yeah,
comes through.
thank you.
Like
Thank you.
you you have your finger on what a lot of us are thinking when it comes to our lives, and let's face it, our occupation, our jobs, a good part of what we do. We spend a lot of
Hmm.
time doing that, so we should be wanting to do what we do, what we've chosen. Thank you for all of the insight today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's a
Appreciate
pleasure
it.
as always.
We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.